Welcome to the Raise Your Bars podcast, where it's all about elevating your life one step at a time. With your hosts, Chris Baker and Al Rattan. Together, we're here to guide you through the transformative journey of self-improvement and success. Have you ever wondered what behaviors and actions you need to change to achieve the results and success you desire in life? Well, you're in the right place. Each episode, we dive deep into the strategies, mindset shifts, and practical steps you can take to raise your bars. From personal development to professional growth, Chris and Al share their expertise, experiences, and the occasional tough love, all designed to empower you to reach your full potential. So, whether you're looking to make a big change or simply fine-tune your path to success, grab a seat and let's raise those bars together. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Chris Baker and Al Rattan.
Well, Chris, it's another episode of the Raise Your Bars podcast. And man, it's been a good week so far.
Yeah. It's busy week. Busy, but busy's good, right?
Absolutely.
And busy.
Today we confirmed some stuff. We're doing some training, 2 days of training with them in June. It's a company up here in Canada. They're bringing all of their managers into Winnipeg for a company retreat. And so I'm excited about that. We're going to be doing the leadership game with them, with just the executive team. And then on the Tuesday morning, we're doing a 4-hour DISC model of human behavior workshop with, there's about 60 of them, 50, 60 of them in total. It'll be a really good morning. Lots of learning and growing. And that's exciting. And you've been doing a lot of DISC workshops with Disney as well.
Yeah, we've been busy with that, and it's interesting because we're doing the DISC workshops, an emerging leaders program, a leadership as executive leader or future executive leader program, as well as all of that. So it's good stuff, and it's what's so refreshing, Al, is that there seems to be an appetite for learning again, right? And that's something that has been missing, but it's something that is so needed. And as I do these, and I'm sure you're finding the same, when we do these sessions, people are so hungry for it and they're so appreciative of it. Right. So I really hope with all sincerity that it continues, right? That people keep investing the time, and a little bit of money in their teams, because it will pay dividends without a doubt.
It really is incredible, because I have to tell you, everybody that I've done workshops for, initially everybody goes, oh my goodness, it's so expensive. And oh my goodness, right? But once we get in there and we start working with them, it really is transformative for their company and organization. If they take it seriously, take it to heart, and actually implement what we've taught them. And you're right. It is nice to see. I think, we went through COVID where everything went virtual, and then people were sick of virtual. And then we went into a little bit of, I think, recovery mode for a while. But even with, I would say the appearance of a recession happening maybe in our countries, it's nice to see businesses stepping up and saying, okay, well, now's the time to invest. And really it is an investment, because you are your greatest asset or your greatest expense
and resource. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's good that people are looking and saying, hey, okay, I don't know if I believe or not that there is a recession coming, and we've heard that for so long. And again, it's one of those things that if you hear it long enough and you believe it, guess what? It's going to come true. But if you don't, but you actually do something about it, right? You can't just ignore it and say it's not going to happen and carry on as you are, because it probably will happen, right? But if you take control, do like we said before, control the controllable, right? Look at where you want to go, identify what it is you want to achieve. That can be individually or it can be as a business. And then the next step is actually take action. If you do that with a purpose and intentionality, you will grow and you will be successful, and the investment you make in your team will pay itself back, multiply. I don't even know how many times, right? But it's like at least 10, 100 times it will pay itself back in time. And you're creating those engaged, loyal, hungry, passionate, employees that want to come to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you want to come to work, you do a better job. It doesn't feel like work, and the results are better. So why wouldn't you do it? So it's nice that people are spending that time, and allowing people time to learn, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And that reminds me, that we've used that quote before, that LinkedIn study that was done where I forget it was 83% of employees said they would
Mhm.
stay with their current employer if they invested
Yep.
in their personal growth and development. And really at the end of the day, the investment for any type of training or workshop is minuscule compared to, the revenue most companies are generating that we're dealing with. So
Yeah.
it is exciting to see.
It is.
And you know what? And we're recording this March 21st. It's going to be released on the 22nd of March. We're a week away from Easter weekend and then heading into April already.
I know, crazy.
Yeah. So, you're coming, most businesses now, by the time you listen to this, you're coming to the close of your first quarter of the year.
Mhm.
How has it been?
Yeah.
How has it been?
Yeah.
And maybe it's time to look at investing in your people. This
Right.
isn't a commercial, so, we'll stop after this and talk about some other stuff, but it may be worth, or maybe it is time to talk about this. Maybe it's to look at this.
Mm.
What are you going to do for the second quarter of the year? How are you going to invest in your people to grow and develop them, which in turn will
Yeah.
grow and your business?
Yeah, I think it's a great time to stop and reflect, right? Like, how did the first quarter go? What did you learn from the first quarter? What went well, and why did it go well? What didn't go quite so well, and why not? And how can you learn from what went well and put it into the things that didn't go well to move forward? And then set yourself a goal for the second quarter, right? So through April, May, June, and then work on that goal and employ the bars method, right? So look at what is it you want to achieve, but then break it down and say, what are the behaviors that I need to do or my
Mhm.
team need to do, and the actions that we need to do every day to generate those results and get that level of success, and then move that forward and get that momentum going into Q3, and then take that into Q4. And before you know it, you'll have increased your profit, accelerated your profit this year.
Exactly, and I think a lot of businesses tend to a lot of smaller businesses. Let's just put smaller businesses, maybe even some larger ones, but tend to react instead of plan
Mhm.
and strategize
Exactly. Yeah.
things in place, right? And you're reactionary to the market trends versus
Mhm.
being at the forefront of it. And part of and when that happens, guess what? You're playing catch up.
Yeah.
You're playing catch up.
Yeah.
And that's not good for any business. So again, like
Right.
Chris said, examine what's happened in the first quarter. What are you going to do for the second quarter? And then
Mhm. Yeah, and if you're a retail business, right? Most retail businesses, or a lot of retail businesses, look forward to that December sort of boost, right? For the holidays. No, well, maybe sort of now it's Black Friday through, right? So November through December.
right.
But wouldn't it be nice if you were in a position that by November you've covered all your expenses for the year, so you know that whatever you sell in November or December is cream, right? That's your profit. Wouldn't it
Mm-hmm.
be nice if you knew that that was the case? So why not set your objective to reach that? Now you
Yeah.
have to know what you need to reach to be break even. So hopefully you know that with your KPIs, right, and with your books. But do that and set that as your goal. Work back from there, and then you know that when you continue those behaviors and actions in November and December, you're gonna get that boost, and that's all going to be your profit for the year. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
It's
That would be
not
amazing.
that complicated, right? It's
It
not that.
really isn't, but I think we tend to as business owners, we obviously overcomplicate things and we get tied up in the day to day and the
Right.
operation of the business. And that's another issue. If you're a business owner and you're spending so much time working in your actual business instead of working on your business,
Mm.
I think you are blind to certain things
Yep.
that could be affecting your business negatively. And,
Exactly.
Chris and I have access to our proprietary profit acceleration software where we can actually do analysis on business. Did I say that word? Analysis on
We
business.
can we can analyze a business. Yeah.
We can analyze it. Yes, folks, these are unscripted.
Yeah.
Anyways, analyze
But
business.
yeah, and that this brings us on to what I wanted to talk about today, right? I know we're like nearly 9 minutes in already. We haven't touched our topic, but what you were saying about how business owners, particularly the small to medium size, but even in the larger ones, it's not the owners, but also your managers, senior managers, everybody
Mm-hmm.
tends to get tied up in being the job, right? And getting it, allowing the job to really engulf them and say that is who they are, and it really isn't. It shouldn't be that way, right?
Right.
And one of the reasons is because we're not taught, and we don't know how to effectively prioritize and schedule our time.
Mm-hmm.
And so this week, in one of the lessons I taught, we went through the prioritizing and scheduling model that I've used and developed, and along with what I call the priority quadrant, which I think you've heard of before. We talked about it before, and I really think it ties in with, again, our time mastery course, but it's really about what do you do all day, right? And I mean this in the nice way, and I mean as to how do you look at it. So what we do is you get a list, a piece of paper, and what you're doing is you're writing out every task that you have to do in a month,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every single task. And if you want to really go deep on this, you put your personal life in as well as your business life,
Yeah.
right? But if you just want to look at it as a business, do that. So what are all the tasks that you need to do, all right? And list everything, right, for the month, and then look at that and go, okay, what's the frequency of each of these tasks? In other words, do I do it daily? Do I do it weekly? Do I do it monthly? What is it, right? So what's the frequency of that task? And then also look at it and say, well, on that frequency, or for each of those frequencies, how long do I spend on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is it 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever, right? So you really take some time and jot that all down, right? And really look at everything. And then what I want you to do is look at it and say, okay, we're going to prioritize these tasks. So what we do then is you get your another piece of paper, and you draw a vertical and horizontal line. So you end up with 4 quadrants. The top 2 quadrants are going to be the tasks that are high priority. The bottom 2 quadrants are tasks that are low priority. And then the left side, so the high priority on the left and the low priority on the left, are going to be for tasks that only you can do.
Mm.
On the right hand side, it's tasks that anyone can do, as long as they've got the right skills, the tools, and equipment, right? So then what you do is you take your list of tasks, and you be honest with it, and you play each of these tasks into one of the quadrants, right? It can only go in one, because if anyone can do it, anyone can do it. It shouldn't be in the one that you can do.
Yeah.
And if only you can do it, then it's got to be there. And if it's high priority and only you can do it, it's got to be there. Low priority down there, right? So you end up with the tasks in the different quadrants. And then you're basically looking at it. It's okay, these are my tasks on the left-hand side, high
Mm-hmm.
priority and low priority. The tasks on the right-hand side, who can I get to help me with those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who can I delegate those tasks to? So then you start looking at those with your team, and you go, okay, Fred over there is good at he's a C, right? So he's great with facts and figures and organizing and everything. So he can do this task because that requires that.
Yes.
All right. This task of like doing the office fun time and the celebration each month, right? You don't need to do that as a leader and owner, but Susie over there is a high eye. She loves that sort of stuff. So give that to her. Right. So what you're doing is you're releasing tasks from yourself. So you're giving yourself more time, right, to be more innovative and creative and think about how we're going to move forward rather than being stuck in the business, right? And then you're also developing your team, because you're giving them extra responsibility. They take ownership with it. They take pride with it. And guess what? Within a couple of months, they'll probably do it better than you.
Yes.
All right. And they're developing. Yeah. And we did this with these group of emerging leaders, and we split them into groups, and we said, okay, you're all from different areas, but pick one person within the group, pick your job, and we want you to list the tasks and do the priority quadrant. We only gave them like 10 minutes, which is by no means is enough if you're doing it properly for yourself. But
Right.
in the context of a classroom, it's fine just to prove the point. And then we brought it back and said, what did you find? And one of the guys who is a D, wants to control everything, right? That was what he does. He looked at it and he said, do you know what, I've realized that I'm keeping hold of and doing a lot of tasks that I've got 4 working foremen that really it's their job to do it. They're capable of doing it, but I'm doing it all. And then I'm looking and they maybe haven't got enough to do. So if I can delegate those tasks to them, which is what they should be doing anyway, it releases me that time to do other stuff. And I was like, bingo, right? In 10 minutes, somebody realized that.
Light bulb moment, right?
Yeah.
And how much time and energy is that going to save them? Probably stress and anxiety as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people talk about time management, right? And we say you can make time. You can make time for reading. You can make time for exercise. You can do that. You can only do it if you know what are all the things you've got to do,
right,
on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. How long do they take? And then you prioritize them. Then the next part is to actually start scheduling your tasks, right? So you look at your tasks and then you block time in your calendar for each of these things.
Right. And I guess one of the things too, when you're doing that, you're also being intentional to leave margin in case for those unexpected things that arise, right?
Right. And within that, so as you're blocking your calendar, right? So when I block my calendar, I have what I call admin time, right? So I'll put that on my calendar and I'll put maybe like an hour 3 or 4 times a week, or maybe even an hour a day. But on my calendar, I leave it as, I show it as free time, right? So if anybody wants to like put a meeting or something on there, they can see it and they can use it. Whereas if you block it all and it's all busy, people are like, oh, I can never get to speak to you, right? But I know that that's the time when I can do things like when I'm doing the disc workshops, right? I can start doing the admin for the codes, right? Or if I'm planning the workshop and putting the presentation together, I block a time. It's planning time, right? It's disc planning time. Yeah. So if you do that and stick to those blocks of time, and none of those blocks of time, unless it's a teaching lesson, none of them are any more than an hour. Right. Because an hour is probably the optimum time you can concentrate on anything. Then you need a quick break.
Yes.
I also schedule every day on my calendar, and sometimes I have to move it, right? But I schedule an hour to have lunch and go for a walk.
Yep.
Right. Because if I don't schedule it, it's not going to happen.
The office. Yeah. Clear your head. Get out of the office.
Yeah. So you do this and you stick to these blocks of time. And when you're at the end of one block of time, you stop what you're doing and you move on to the next.
Yeah.
Because what I found is that if you don't do that, what happens is you get engrossed in the things you love doing. You lose all concept of time. You get to the end of the day and go, I didn't do all these tasks that I was going to do.
Right.
So what do? You say, I'll put them off till tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's procrastination.
Absolutely. Now, there's one other good thing that happens here too, by actually writing down all these tasks that you're responsible for. You may actually come up with a few going, man, I don't even need to do this anymore.
Correct.
He needs to do this anymore because it doesn't add value to the organization in any way. It's just something we've done because we've always done it.
Yeah.
Well, examine those things that we've done because we've always done it, to make sure it's actually still adding value to you, your team, or the organization. And if it's not, then we need to look at eliminating that off of our schedule altogether and other people's schedule.
Yeah. Because
it's bringing no value. And if we're not bringing any value, then why are we wasting our precious resource doing that? And I think also by, we've read before, it's about 85% of employees say they could be more productive at work.
Exactly.
Doing an exercise like this with your team, with yourself, is really going to show you how productive you're being as an individual and as a team and as an organization.
Yeah.
And I would bet you cold hard cash that you find that you're not being as productive as you can be.
Yep. Exactly. There's so much wasted time during the day. People say, don't have enough time in the day. I've not got enough hours, got too much to do.
Mhm.
maybe, but not everybody, right? And not every day.
Right.
So if you stop, slow down, look at it, analyze it, and then go with a plan, I guarantee you'll get more done in less time.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it myself firsthand.
Yeah. Yeah. If I don't block stuff in my calendar, Chris, I forget
Yeah, well, you're an I, right?
easily.
So I mean, you need to do it more than anybody.
I'm easily distracted.
Yeah.
This is the thing. It's important for me to block that time. And it's also like I block lunches, I block, all my meetings. I make sure that I
Mhm.
want to I want to make sure I show up on time and honor the other person's time,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But I also want to stay organized and not let my I personality pull me off task too much.
Mhm.
So I think we've gone for 19 minutes here today. So what are we sending everybody away with today? There's got to be, Chris already told you about what you could do with the paper and
Yeah.
the quadrants and listing the tasks and ideas, but I think that would be a great project for people to get started.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Don't stress over it, but also don't put it on the back burner, because if you actually do that exercise that Chris just explained, you are going to find more time in your day to focus on the important tasks.
Yeah.
And be more productive. And
Yeah.
if you show your team how to do that, then your entire team is going to be more productive.
Exactly.
Have some fun at work, right? Everybody needs to have some fun at work. We
Mhm.
can't work for, show up, punch the clock, and work solid for 8 hours and never raise our heads and take a
No.
break, see anybody or associate with anybody. But at the same time, if you can find an extra, if you found an extra hour a week from everybody on your team or more, I mean, how much more could you do this year profitability wise?
Yeah. It's cutting out that wasted time. It's again, you may find in a team that you've got multiple people attending the same meetings.
Mhm.
Why? All right. If they do the same job, why send multiple people to that meeting? Send one or two and let them report back to the others if there's anything you need to do. That releases a lot of time.
Yes.
All right. And maybe look at those meetings as well and say, do I really need to be in that meeting?
Mhm.
Because a lot of them you probably don't.
Well,
Right?
we teach
That can
a
release time.
half-day workshop on holding productive meetings.
Mhm.
And the things that we talk about is having the agenda, having the meeting before the meeting, and
Right.
only inviting the people that need to be at the meeting to the meeting.
Yep.
So there's actually structure that you can follow for
Yeah.
a meeting.
So I think that's the task out this week, is for people to actually over the next week, really look and take a note of what do you do each day,
Mhm.
right? How long are you spending on those? So it's almost like a time audit, right? But what are you doing each day? How long are you doing spending on those things? And then you can write out all of the tasks. Is what are the things that you do and so on, and then maybe look at two questions, right? When you do this, when you reflect on it, what are three things that you wish you had more of in your week, right? And then the other side of it is, what are three things that you really want less of in your week? And then the key is work out, well, how do I do that?
Exactly.
Right? It will probably come to you. Again, it's something that, again, just put things down, look at it, brings it to the forefront of your mind, and it could be just like, I can do that.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
good. So good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, my friend. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. We are truly grateful for those of you that listen to our podcast. And if you found value with it, please consider sharing it with others. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Raise Your Bars podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please consider sharing it with your family, friends, and coworkers. We would sincerely appreciate it.